Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are discussing the control procurement process. Now, if you would rather read an article on this topic than watch a video, then first link in the description is going to take you to a relevant article on this topic over at our official website PMCLounge.com. So first link in the description, check it out. Also, second link in the description is an entire playlist of every single video that we have done on procurement management knowledge area topics. So two important links, by the way. You can head over to the playlist section of our YouTube channel, and that's where you will find playlists of every single important topic in your PMP courseware, be it knowledge areas, be it FAQs, be it other complex topics like WBS. WBS will have a playlist of its own. So stuff like that. Check out the playlist section. Very important. That's where the gold is. Let's get started. So here we go. This is the third and the final process in the procurement management knowledge area. The process group is monitoring and controlling process group. The name of the process, of course, control procurements, and this is the PGKA mapping. These two other processes is something we have already discussed. Control procurements is what we are discussing today. Like I said, part of the monitoring and controlling process group and procurement management knowledge area. So some quick points on this process. Once the project planning is done and the work is underway, can you relax and let things evolve on their own? So forget about control procurements right now. This is a general question. You have planned your project. The work has started. The engineers have started their work. So can you now relax because you have done all the planning? The work, engineers are doing the work. So can you just relax and let things evolve on their own? The answer is, of course, not. You cannot do so. And this is the same with procurement as well. So you create your procurement management plan and then you conduct procurement, which is selecting the sellers and actually getting the job done, getting the procurement done. So you have created the plan, you have conducted procurement, but you cannot let things work out on their own now. Why? Because you need to keep track of what's happening with your procurement, what's happening, what is the status of the work that you have contracted out. So control procurements is the process that comes next. You have the plan, you have conducted the procurement, and now you need to do something which is known as control procurements. A quick reminder here, pmclounge.com/resources. That's where we have listed our favorite resources. Hundreds of aspirants have cleared their PMP exam following these recommendations that we have put forth. So check this link out. All right, continuing our discussion. So since this process falls in the monitoring and controlling process group, this is where you would monitor the performance of the seller against the contract. You have a contract in place, the contract is already signed. In this process, you are monitoring how is the seller performing against what has been agreed on, what has been signed on, the contract that is signed on. In addition to this, you can also make modifications and corrections as needed. This can be modifications and corrections to the contract, of course. And you can also maintain the contractual relationship. So whatever contractual relationship that you have signed on, be it financial, be it any kind of support that you have to provide based on the contractual relationship needs to be maintained. So these are some of the things that you will be doing in the control procurement process. Now, in simpler terms, this is what the definition is, but in simpler terms, for understanding purposes, this is the process where you stay on top of how the work that was contracted out to the seller is being taken care of. How is the seller doing his or her job? That is what you're trying to figure out when you are in the process of control procurements. So now you need to note that while in projectized environment, everyone reports to the project manager, but the team from the seller side is not going to report to the project manager. So I hope you remember what projectized environment is. If not, I'll drop a link in the description where you can check and understand what projectized environment is. So basically, a projectized environment is a setting where everyone that is working on the project reports to the project manager. But even in that setting, the team from the seller side, the team of the seller who you have contracted some work out, is not going to report to the project manager. Remember how we talked about collective bargaining agreement? We talked about union. The union is never going to report to you if they are involved through the seller, right? So that is how this is going to add another level of complexity, because now you have a team that is not going to report to you. Now, of course, if you are working in a matrix environment where nobody reports to you, then this could be something that you might be comfortable with. But if you're working in projectized environment where everybody reports to you, now all of a sudden you have a team that does not report to you. So of course this adds some complexity, but there are two important inputs in this process that needs to come from the seller, and those are work performance data and work performance reports. So remember, we are talking about the inputs of this process now. Tools and techniques of this process is something we are going to cover in a later video, but inputs, outputs is something that we can cover here, because there's nothing much that you need to know as far as inputs and outputs are concerned. So work performance data and work performance reports are two important inputs that will come from the seller side as part of this process. We have already discussed WPD and WPR. I will drop a link in the description below where you can go and check that video out and understand what work performance data and reports really are. Now, if you have already checked that video, or if you have seen that video in the past and you remember what we discussed there, you already know that whenever work performance data and work performance reports are the inputs, then one of the outputs is definitely going to be WPI, which is work performance information. So we have discussed these three in a separate video. I'll share the link to that video in the description below. You can check that out. But yes, these are some of the inputs and outputs of this process. And like I said earlier, there's nothing much that you need to worry about as far as inputs and outputs of this process are concerned. There is nothing that is out of the ordinary here. So with that, I leave you with a question for this video. Can you guess other inputs and outputs of the control procurement process? Remember, we have already talked about two inputs here, the work performance data and work performance report. And we have also talked about one of the outputs, that is work performance information. What do you think do you need as a project manager when you are controlling procurements? What else do you think you need as part of this process as input? What do you think would be an output of this process where you are controlling procurements? I always say this and I'll stress on this again. Over here at pmclounge.com, we don't want you to memorize inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs. What we want to do is to make sure that you prepare yourself in a way that you are able to figure inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs on your own. That is what PMP exam is about. PMP is not a test of memorization. You don't have to memorize a lot of stuff to clear your PMP exam. It is about understanding how project management works. So let me know in the comments if you can guess what could be the other inputs and outputs of the control procurement process. Also, let me give you a hint, because there is one input that you may find interesting here in this process, and that is accepted change requests. So there are some change requests, when they are accepted, they come in as an input of control procurement process. Can you tell me in the comments why that would be the case? That's my second question for this video. So that's all that we had in this video. I hope a quick introduction and a brief overview of control procurement's process was clear to you. Smash that like button if you got value out of this video. It helps us stay motivated and create more free content for you. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to stay notified whenever we upload new videos. Also, a quick reminder, check the playlist section of this YouTube channel out. It is going to be very, very helpful to you. Also, don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource. Thank you and have a nice day.